What's up, you guys? Steven here for Off the Shelf Movie Night to talk to you about physical media, about Blu-rays and 4Ks and DVDs, the way we like to buy and own our movies and TV shows and documentaries, concert videos, all that stuff, the way we like to own media and watch it, collect it, all that stuff. If you're a collector, you want to be a collector, or just a movie fan, I think you're in the right spot. So hit that notification bell, stay up to date on when things are coming out, definitely hit the subscribe button, and if you like what you see, a like and a share would be appreciated. So it's that time of year again for me to reorganize. You'll notice I've pulled, suck at this, some stuff off already here. It's time for me to reorganize my shelves. I'm really bad about keeping things up to date. Previously, I have just organized by genre. You know, the old school little kid, video store guy in me is always going to sort by genre because my movies are first and foremost about watching, even more so than collecting. Some of you guys may be different, but it's about watching. And if I come back here and I want to watch a horror movie, I want to go to the right shelf. If I want to watch an action movie, I want to just go to the right shelf. So strictly alphabetizing things doesn't make sense for me from a watchability perspective. I mean, if you know the exact movie you want to see, sure, it does. It does. But that's not how my brain works. So you guys have been at me, especially my friends on TikTok, about alphabetizing. So I think the compromise is going to be this. I believe I'm going to first sort by genre, and then within those sections, I'm going to alphabetize. But it's not just going to be genre. I'm going to sort by studio because I like all my arrows together. I like my Scream Factories get together. I like my Steelbooks together. So those are going to be sort of genres for my collection in particular. Now, when I do these reorganizations, I usually show off whatever part I'm currently working on just to kind of give you guys an update of where the library is. And then we can talk about the movies that I have. You guys can make some recommendations if you see a hole that I'm missing, especially now because through the summer there's some great sales coming. So especially for what I'm going to talk about today, which is Arrow Video. I'm actually going to talk about Arrow Video across 2 videos because I don't want these things to be 30 minutes long. So today we're going to talk about, and see, this is a part some of you guys may disagree with, you hardcore alphabetizing people, is within my Arrow collection. I like the way the special editions all look together. I like the way the slipcover editions all look together, and then the regular standard editions are fine. So that's also going to be broken down just because aesthetically I think it's pleasing. I like the Arrow slipcovers together. I like the special editions together. So I'm not willing to just sort all my arrows alphabetically. I just can't do it. I'm sorry. Can't do it. So in this video, I'm going to show off my standard edition arrows. And then the next video, we'll do the slipcover editions and special editions. Okay? So let me know what you think. I'm going to try and go through these pretty quick. So if you want me to talk about any movie in particular, hit me in the comments and let me know, and we'll do it. Okay. So first up, The Andromeda Strain. If you don't know this film, you really should. This is always on sale in their standard edition half-off sales. It's probably more relevant now than it actually has ever been. Audition. This is one of Takeshi Miike's best films, one of his most popular films, but it deserves it. It is a slow burn, but it's worth it in the end if you stick with it. So Creepshow 2. Creepshow 1 is definitely the better of these 2 anthologies, but Creepshow 2 has some fun moments in here. This is an anthology film done in the 80s by George Romero, Stephen King, some of the best in the business of that era of storytelling, horror storytelling in particular. Speaking of George Romero, we have the Crazies here. Everyone talks about Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead when it comes to George Romero. I talk about them too because I love them. But this is a more sort of aggressive take on the zombie idea, a little bit more aggressive in terms of social commentary. Has a little more humor in it too, which is fun. Just fun. Highly slept on by a lot of people. This is the first 4K. Now the 4Ks I would normally separate, but I've kind of given up on that. So this is Crash. This is a David Cronenberg film. Very difficult movie to watch for some people. I'm jaded and twisted and don't get affected by much, so it doesn't bother me, but I think it's really good. Climax. Now, as jaded and twisted as I am, this movie still messes me up. But this is Gaspar Noé. This is an import. I brought this in because it has better special features than the domestic release. CHUD. This is one of the few arrows that I have is in a blue box. I hate this blue box. Anybody know what CHUD stands for? This is an 80s creature feature. It stands for Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers. So, fun, campy, silly creature feature. Another Asia Extreme release, Dark Water. It's a very good sort of spooky ghost movie from the early mid 2000s. Here's one I'm struggling with. This is Dead by Dawn. I don't love all of this movie, but I really do love 15 minutes of it. And that's been a challenge for me to decide whether to leave it on the shelf or not. That's why it's still here. Okay, Dead End Drive-In. I think I love the idea of this campy dystopian drive-in movie thing more than I actually love the movie. I don't know if this one's going to continue to live on my shelf because I don't know how often I'm going to revisit it. You'll see that Takeshi Miike is one of my favorite directors. His stuff is going to keep coming up. This is the Dead or Alive trilogy. These all have some entertainment value. They're all fun, but the first one is it's a cult classic. That's one of my favorite endings of any movie ever. Eaten Alive is a slept-on Toby Hooper movie. I remember seeing this as a kid on cable and thinking, wow, this something about this feels weird. It just doesn't feel like a movie. It feels like it's, shot on a stage. Well, okay, watch the movie and tell me what you see. This is a good movie, though. I enjoy this movie. Very campy. Bloody Birthday. It's a creepy kid movie. I don't have too many of the creepy kid type of movies, but this is a good one. I know that Severin also has I don't know if they still have, but had a pretty good version of that movie out too. I had to import this one. I don't know why this is not released domestically. This is Matinee. This is a dramatization of the life of William Castle, one of the most unique men in the early era cinema's history. He did interactive theater. It's fun. It's a fun movie. We Are the Flesh. This was most notable to me because this was my first Arrow. It's my very first Arrow film. Okay, here's my other blue box Arrow film. The Witch That Came from the Sea. This is a very surreal 80s horror movie. Very, very odd, very weird atmosphere to this movie. Tell me if you've seen it. Torso. This is kind of a giallo, but it's, to me, a good bit more violent than your typical giallo, and that's saying something because giallos are not free of violence. That's for damn sure. This is something that's probably going to get flipped. This is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I love this movie. This is an import. It's a Region B, so I'm going to have to flip this kind of inexpensively when I do. But I imported it because I love the movie so much, and the Scream Factory had gone out of print. It was super expensive, so this was the easiest way for me to get it. But now we have Vinegar Syndrome coming out with a 4K, so I'll be getting that. Society. This one's always cheap in the Arrow sales, and don't sleep on it. You shouldn't. It's a little bit of a slow burn. It's a little bit campier than you might expect, but boy, the final act of this movie is something like you've never seen before, I promise you. Remo Williams. This, funniest part of this is the subtitle, The Adventure Begins, because the adventure began and ended with this movie. This is sort of a super soldier type of movie, super spy, superhero thing. I really enjoy the campiness of this action movie. I also enjoy Kate Mulgrew, who is Captain Janeway. Rage of Honor. This is out of order, I believe. So Rage of Honor is a Sho Kosugi movie. Sho Kosugi was known mostly in the 80s for ninja movies, which is how I know him. This is one of his action movies. I don't love this one, but Arrow did a 2-part extensive interview with Sho Kosugi, and part 2 of that interview is here, so I had to have it for the extra. Network. Network is a 70s, I believe, drama about network news. Boy, this is a relevant film now. You should see it. FM. This is very foreign to us now, that's for sure. FM is a kind of a dramedy, I guess, because it's funny too. About the early days of FM radio and a station that the DJs started to fight against the military who were trying to buy up advertising time and kind of get a grip on their listeners. Also notable is the soundtrack, one of the best soundtracks in the history of soundtracks. All right, here's the movie that has part 1 of that Sho Kosugi interview, Pray for Death. I love this movie. This is an actual Sho Kosugi ninja movie. That one, typical story. His family moves to the United States, start a better life, get mixed up with drug dealers. Ninja must come out of retirement to take revenge. You guys know I love subgenre. You guys know I love nun-sploitation in particular. This is Killer Nun. This is one of the best of that subgenre. And this one was really expensive for a long time, but now it's come down in price. You should be able to get this one pretty cheaply now. Here's another 4K. King of New York. Man comes out of prison after, and tries to regain control of the organized crime in the city. This one is another flipper. Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This film went out of print. This was also a Scream Factory that went out of print, and I love it. Movie's been remade many times. I like that version. It has Leonard Nimoy in it and Donald Sutherland. I imported it, and then literally 6 months after I imported it, Kino Lorber put out a 4K. Now, this one might not disappear. This has good extras. I need to look at the extras on that 4K. I might have to double dip. And The Initiation. Good old-fashioned 80s slasher. This one's usually cheap in their sales and a good time. Look at this one. This guy. Oh, I bumped the mic there. This guy's signed. It's Clive Barker's Hellraiser. This is actually signed by Pinhead himself, Doug Bradley. And, of course, Hellraiser 2. Hellraiser Part 2. I enjoy this one. It's story-wise subpar to the first, but, extremism-wise, gore-wise, it takes everything a step further. So that, guys, is my collection so far of standard edition Arrow Video releases. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any of these you want me to talk more about. Let me know if you think there's something specific that's going to be for sale this summer and one of the sales for cheap that I need to pick up. Next video, we'll take a look at my special editions and my slipcover editions for Arrow, and then we'll move on to whatever else you guys want to see as I'm reorganizing this collection. Till next we meet, pull something cool off the shelf, share it with friends and family, and remind them why physical media is the best way to watch films and TV at home. I'll see you guys on the next one.